To all our dear viewers who are watching this live relay from Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam, Madurai, all our dear viewers connected from all over the world through the various social media platforms and other forms of media who are watching this live relay from Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam, Madurai, KAILASA, Madurai, where the most auspicious Chithirai Peruvizha festival has commenced today. Today is day 1 of the Chithirai Peruvizha festival, the grand festival that commemorates, that celebrates the life, glories, and message of Devi Meenakshi, Bhagavan Somasundareshwara of Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam, the divine couple Paramashiva and Devi themselves who descended on the planet and established the Kailasonnata Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam, the ancient spiritual kingdom of Madurai. With the grace and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, the living manifestation of Paramashiva, the Aushadha Annadhan services have commenced in Madurai on this day 1 of the Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam from Kailasa, Madurai. You are watching the Aushadha Annadhan being served to the people of Madurai, to the devotees of Somasundareshwara Devi Meenakshi on this auspicious occasion. As the 293rd Pontiff of the Kailasonnata Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, graces the people of Madurai today through various socio-spiritual services, which we will be witnessing through the live relay from Madurai, Kailasonnata Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam, from Kailasa, Madurai, which is located on the eastern side of the Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple. You can see the fragrance of Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi in the air. It is festival time in Madurai, and you can see the people flocking into Kailasa, Madurai to receive the Aushadha Annadhan. It is the vision and divine mandate of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, to continuously serve people with the Aushadha Annadhan, which is food infused with the very living enlightenment software, the very cosmic principles related to living enlightenment, just through the component of food. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, reaches out to people, to humanity at large, through all the Kailasa ecosystems around the world, serving the people with this Aushadha Annadhan, food specially infused with the living enlightenment software, food specially prepared with ingredients conducive for superconscious breakthrough, for conscious growth. The science of preparing and serving food as per Paramashiva's mandate in the Agamas, the very Hindu source scriptures revealed by Paramashiva himself. Today is day 1 of the Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam, and Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi, as part of the Panchamurtis, Lord Ganesha, Lord Subramanya, Somasundareshwara, and Devi Meenakshi, along with Chandikeshwara, grace the people of Madurai on the very streets in a grand procession. And just a few hours ago, we witnessed the grand procession of Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi passing by Kailasa, Madurai, on the eastern side street of the temple, and right at the doorstep of Kailasa, Madurai, we witnessed the offering of the Mandagappadi to Somasundareshwara, Devi Meenakshi, all the Panchamurtis, the 5 deities. Mandagappadi is a traditional offering to the Lord when he steps out on the street in procession to grace his devotees. The Mandagappadi comprises all the items used in worship of the Lord, from his royal robes to the grand flower garlands, to the coconuts, to all the items used in his sacred bath, like the sandal paste, the vermilion, the incense, the camphor, all of the items that are offered to the Lord are constitute the Mandagapadi, and this is offered to the Lord every time he steps out in procession as deep gratitude to him, who's the source of all these very items in our life. We as devotees offer these items back to the Lord to give our deep gratitude to him. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has revived this tradition of offering Mandagapadi to the Lord as a mainstream lifestyle through all the Kailasa ecosystems around the world. In all the Kailasa ecosystems, every time the deity of the main temple in the area steps out in procession, the disciples, devotees, and sannyasis of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism are right there offering the Mandagapadi to the main deity. As you can see, the Aushadha Annadhan has started in full swing in Madurai Kailasa, Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Peetham. On this day one today, we witnessed Somasundareshwara on the Kalpa Vriksha Vahana and Devi Meenakshi on the Simha Vahana. The Kalpa Vriksha Vahana is the celestial wish-fulfilling tree. It is under this celestial tree that Bhagavan Paramashiva is seated, conducting the entire universe and imparting the timeless, enlightening knowledge to all the great rishis, munis, the great sages, and all the great beings. Devi Meenakshi is gracing us today from the grand Simha Vahana, the lion vehicle. And today is the flag hoisting of this Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam. Today the Rishabha Dwaja was hoisted in the Somasundareshwara, Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple in Madurai, marking the commencement of this grand 13-day festival. The Rishabha Dwaja, the flag, has the image of the Rishabha, the sacred bull of Paramashiva, on it. Rishabha symbolizes dharma, righteousness, and also symbolizes the individual soul. To raise both dharma and the individual soul, the flag is symbolically raised today, marking the commencement of this grand, most auspicious 13-day festival, which symbolizes Paramashiva's infinite compassion and readiness to specially grace all of life and all the beings during this 13-day period, lifting one and all to the superconscious zone through an accelerated, intense energy flow during this period. The Kalpavriksha Vahana, the celestial boon-giving tree under which Bhagavan Somasundareshwara appears today, gracing his devotees on the very streets of his beloved city of Madurai. The Kalpavriksha has as its leaves and branches, as the very Vedas, the sacred Hindu scriptures, and all the cosmic principles are symbolized by its leaves and branches. And Bhagavan Paramashiva is seated under this very tree as its root, gracing and enlightening all of creation. The Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Peetham is the ecosystem, the very Kailasa ecosystem established by Bhagavan Paramashiva himself, and boasts of an unbroken Guru Parampara, the Guru-disciple lineage, for over 4,000 years, with a continuous recorded succession of pontiffs. The current ruling pontiff, the 293rd pontiff, being the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, the very living energy of Bhagavan Paramashiva. Irayanar Sundareshwara Paramashiva himself established the Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Peetham after the great deluge. And following him in the unbroken lineage of the Guru Parampara of Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Peetham are Kapila Muni, the incarnation of Paramashiva, the reviver of the Mahanirvani Akhada one of the most ancient apex bodies of Hinduism, followed by Devi Meenakshi herself, incarnation of Devi Paramashiva Shakti, who revived the Shamalapita Sarvagnapitam ecosystem during her period, along with Bhagavan Paramashiva as Somasundareshwara. And following Devi Meenakshi in the unbroken lineage is the first known recorded incarnation of Paramashiva, our Guru Mudalvar, Guru Mahasannidhanam Tirujnana Sambandar, who revived this grand ecosystem during his time period. And following him in the unbroken lineage is, during his period, Sri Adi Shankaracharya, the 117th Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Shamalapita Sarvagnapitam, who is known as the Shanmatha Sthapanacharya, the reviver of the 6 main ancient traditions of Hinduism. The 6 traditions, the 6 forms of worship of Bhagavan Paramashiva, Devi, Lord Ganesha, Lord Subramanya, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Surya. The 203rd Guru Mahasannidhanam in this glorious Guru Parampara is Sri Kanta Shivacharya. And following him are the various pontiffs, the Guru Mahasannidhanams of this glorious lineage. The current Guru Mahasannidhanam, the pontiff of the Shamalapita Sarvagnapitam, the 293rd pontiff, being the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, coronated as Guru Mahasannidhanam Bhagavan Srila Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam Sri Jnana Sambandha Desika Paramacharya Swamigal, the very incarnation of Paramashiva, seated as the ruling pontiff. The location from where you are witnessing this Aushadha Annadhan is the Shamalapita Sarvagnapitam, the Kailasa ecosystem. The spiritual significance of this location of Kailasa in Madurai is tremendous and goes back to the origins of Madurai itself. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revealed that this location is the very place where Devi Meenakshi walked out of the Chitakni Kunda, the fire, as a 3-year-old divine child. It is here also that Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi sat on their divine throne, ruling the entire kingdom of Madurai. The mystical divine birth of Devi Meenakshi happened right here in this location of Kailasa, Madurai. It is the vision of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, to serve the devotees of the Lord, to serve the devotees of Paramashiva. Everywhere they congregate to celebrate Paramashiva and his glories. And therefore, you will see that everywhere the grand Hindu festivals happen in celebration of Paramashiva and Paramashiva Shakti. Kailasa, the Kailasa ecosystems in those areas will continuously serve the Aushadha Annadhan to the congregation of devotees who are immersed in worship of the Lord and in various spiritual practices, whether it is the Girivala in Tiruvannamalai or other grand temples of Paramashiva around the world. The Kailasa ecosystems continuously serve this Aushadha Annadhan, serving the devotees of the Lord. the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revealed that the Sarvajna Pitha in the Hindu tradition is like a university where all the traditions, the sampradayas of Hinduism were taught once upon a time and flourished during the pre-invasion era eons ago. Madurai is one such Sarvajna Pitha. Tiruvannamalai is another Sarvajna Pitha. Innumerable Sarvajna Pithas existed. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivamam, is the coronated head of multiple such Sarvajna Pithas and is today reviving all of these Sarvajna Pithas back to their pristine glory through the revival of the Guru Parampara, the cyclic succession of gurus and disciples, the great Guru-disciple lineage, which keeps this whole tradition and the Enlightenment sciences alive. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, was coronated by his predecessor, the 292nd Guru Mahasannidhanam of Shamalapita Sarvajna Pitam, Srila Sri Arunagirinada Sri Jnanasambandha Desika Paramacharya Swamigal, on the 27th of April, 2012. And ever since the coronation, grand revival activities of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, the revival of Kailasa commenced in the city of Madurai. The history and heritage of Madurai has been revealed time and again by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism through his various global presidential addresses. The history of Madurai goes back to the prehistoric era. The DNA of the people of Madurai, the civilization established by Bhagavan Paramashiva himself, is the oldest known DNA today. When the roots of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, its dynasties and scriptural injunctions were formed, the civilization would indeed go through tests of infinite measure to stay alive in a rapidly changing world. Frequent flooding and volcanic eruptions were again and again molding the earth and its inhabitants. One such deluge happened at the dawn of the epoch that we are living in now, an event that has clearly been recorded in the Hindu Puranas, not only as an earthly inundation, but as a cosmic deluge of other dimensions known as the Pralaya, which happened in and around 11,275 BCE. To save humanity, the great Enlightenment sciences, a grand cosmic intervention took place once again. Before the wild storm and deluge, the incarnation of Vishnu, as the Matsya Avatara, the fish incarnation of Bhagwan Vishnu, appeared to guide Vaivasvata Manu, the progenitor of mankind, to build a ship to safeguard all of life in all of its unique forms, to prevent it from being destroyed. After the deluge, Vaivasvata Manu and his companions, who were the illustrious 7 great sages and other great beings, deboarded the ship and began to re-establish the civilization once again on the planet. And this happened in the region of Madurai, the Kumarikandam area. It is recorded in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the divine mandate received from Lord Mahavishnu by King Satyavrata, who later appeared as Vaivasvata Manu. It is recorded in the Canto 8 of Srimad Bhagavatam in chapter 24, text 41. It says, "Thereafter, O king, you shall collect all types of herbs and seeds and load them on that great boat. Then, accompanied by the 7 rishis and surrounded by all kings of living entities, you shall get aboard that boat, and without moroseness you shall easily travel with your companions through the ocean of inundation, the only illumination being the effulgence of the great rishis." This is the divine mandate from Mahavishnu to King Satyavrata, who later appeared as Vaivasvata Manu and executed this divine mandate and saved and re-established the civilization once again on the earth in this very region of Madurai. Mahavishnu promised that during this happening, he will ensure that the great ship appears for Vaivasvata Manu. The great ship or Manu's ark will be sent to Manu to protect life on the planet. And he instructed the king to collect all the seeds, animals, and herbs and be ready to board the boat, along with the Saptarishis, which included the great sage Agastya as we know him. He then promised that he himself will appear as a huge shark to guide the ship. On earth, many more years passed, and in time, as Mahavishnu had foreseen, the sea levels started rising, the clouds began pouring water unlike ever before seen, and the huge ark appeared before the king. He boarded it with all the items that he collected, and Mahavishnu, as the Matsya Avatara, assuming the form of a humongous and divine fish, pulled the ship through the waters of the inundation. And the place that the Matsya Avatara safely harbored the ship was Madurai, where the human civilization would begin once again. Thus began the history of the entire Tamil heritage and culture of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism reveals that Madurai is the cultural capital of Hinduism. Madurai is the very place of Shaivism. At this primary stage, the founding members of the civilization were Irayanar Sundareshwara himself and the Saptarishis who survived the great flood. Out of gratitude to the Matsyavatara for saving them, the people of this primordial civilization raised their flag with the symbol of the fish, the Matsya, and they came to be known as the Pandya civilization. Vaivasvata Manu received the great signs of enlightenment from Mahavishnu in the form of the Matsya Avatara. Using this science, Vaivasvata Manu founded the civilization which he established after safely arriving on the shores of modern-day South India. Life on earth was to grow again from ground zero. With the seeds saved by Manu, agriculture began again, and people followed the lifestyle that their leader Manu dictated. His lifestyle, with the grace of Paramashiva, was compiled in a rule book that today is known as the Manuvadi Dharma Shastra. Vaivasvata Manu is referred to in many Hindu texts as Dravideshwara, the king of the Dravidas, which goes to show that the civilization he founded was started in South India. Manu is the first person who created the constitution of Vedic tradition. He is the person who declared the Vedic constitution, meaning the lifestyle or smriti. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivам, has revealed all of these nuances of the re-establishing of the Hindu civilization through his innumerable global presidential addresses. And further revelations, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revealed. The people of the civilization were known as the people whom the great fish brought to land, who raised their flag with the symbol of the fish. This civilization would later be ruled by the cosmic mother herself, the incarnation of Paramashiva Shakti, Devi Meenakshi, whose name literally means Archi, meaning ruler of the people, which would be known as the Pandya civilization. The archaeological evidence has proved this prehistoric era as the earliest human civilization, predating the Mesopotamian and Egyptian civilization by several thousand years. Following this foundation, during their crowning ceremonies, the rulers would swear by Manuvadi Dharma Shastra that thereafter they would follow that as the law of the land and cosmos. Even during the grand Pattabhishekam, the coronation ceremony of Devi Meenakshi herself, there is a clear record that states that she takes the oath on the Manuvadi Dharma Shastra, Manu's laws. She takes the oath that she will run the kingdom run the entire world based on the dharma of non-duality, oneness or Advaita. Kailasa, the only Hindu nation established by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has as its cosmic principle oneness or Advaita, based on which the entire Kailasa functions. During the reign of King Malayadwaja Pandyan, a king of the Pandya dynasty, during whose rule the Madurai kingdom reached the peak of its glory, it was a period when the kingdom faced pressing challenges of securing a worthy successor to carry forward the legacy of the Pandyan lineage. King Malayadwaja Pandyan and his wife Kanchanamala performed the grand Putra Kameshti Yajna, a fire ritual, and prayed to Paramashiva for the birth of a child. And from the very fire of the Putra Kameshti Yajna appeared the form of Paramashiva Shakti, Devi Meenakshi, as a 3-year-old child. The beautiful and divine baby girl with a mysterious third breast would grow up to be Devi Meenakshi, who was coronated as her father's successor and who conquered the 56 nations of human settlements at that time and brought them under a single rule. When Devi Meenakshi tried to conquer the abode of Paramashiva himself in Kailasa, her third breast disappeared and she attained enlightenment, eternal oneness with Paramashiva, as predicted during the time of her birth. Paramashiva, assuming the form of Bhagavan Sundareshwara, with his entire entourage, followed Devi Meenakshi to the city of Madurai, where their ceremonious marriage ceremony took place, which is what we are celebrating today as the Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam, the 13-day enlightening festival of Madurai, where the city of Madurai becomes completely filled with the devotees of Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi, who celebrate their beloved Lord and his consort Devi Meenakshi, who celebrate the very rule of this city of Madurai, and who celebrate the innumerable, the countless leelas of Paramashiva in the form of Bhagavan Sundareshwara as Chokkanadar, their beloved Lord, and who also celebrate the manifestation of Bhagavan Sundareshwara, Bhagavan Paramashiva, as the Yellam Valla Siddhar, as the mystic who appeared years after Bhagavan Sundareshwara left his physical form and continued the divine leelas for his beloved people of Madurai. It was the Pandya civilization of Madurai that made a breakthrough in the human DNA with a unique combination of the intelligence of the Surya Vamsa, the lineage of Lord Surya from Bhagavan Paramashiva, and the power of the Shiva Bhutas and Ganas from Kailasa itself. The combination of the powers of the Shiva Ganas of Paramashiva of Kailasa and the intelligence of the lineage of the Surya Vamsa. The Pandya civilization ruled over the entire Hindu civilization and brought the breakthrough for the quality of human life on planet Earth itself. When Devi Meenakshi ruled the Pandya civilization from Madurai, it was considered to be the most ideal, most perfect civilization in history. The ecosystem, which the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, as the very living manifestation of Paramashiva himself, is reviving today through the Hindu nation of Kailasa, spread across the entire world as the various Kailasa ecosystems. Kailasa Madurai being one of the most spiritually significant ecosystems being revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism today, which we are witnessing now in front of our very eyes through this live relay. During this 13-day grand Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsava festival, which commenced today in Madurai with the Dwajarohanam, the flag hoisting. This location of Kailasa Madurai is the very location as revealed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism directly from the Akashic records as the location where the Putra Kameshti Yajna happened with King Malayadwaja Pandyan and his wife Kanchanamala, and from where Devi Meenakshi walked out in the form of a 3-year-old divine child. And it is here that Bhagwan Sundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi ruled Madurai seated in their glorious throne. And their very throne is beneath this sacred location of Kailasa Madurai, as seen in the divine vision of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism while accessing the cosmic archives. Therefore, this location, merely having darshan of this location, is hugely significant for each one of us. It is like directly receiving the blessings of Bhagwan Paramashiva as Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi, the very location from where they ruled the kingdom of Madurai, and the very location from where Devi Meenakshi assumed the form of a 3-year-old child and walked out of the Putra Kameshti Yajna, the fire ritual of her biological parents. The disciples, devotees, and sannyasis of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivamam, are serving the Aushadha Annadhan to the devotees of Madurai. Food infused with the conscious elements required for conscious growth in the individuals consuming the food. This Chithirai Peruvizha festival celebrates the life, the glory, and the message of Devi Meenakshi. Today is day 1. We request our viewers to continue to tune in to this channel every single day, not to miss this 13-day grand festival. Just sitting in the comfort of your own homes, you will be receiving the direct energy of Bhagwan Paramashiva, Asoma Sundareshwara, and Devi Meenakshi through the grace and blessings of the living manifestation of Paramashiva, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivamam. On day 8, you will be witnessing the grand Pattabhishekam, the coronation of Devi Meenakshi, celebration of the very coronation of Devi Meenakshi. On day 9, we will be witnessing the celebration of Devi Meenakshi's Digvijayam, which is her conquering of all the directions, and finally facing Paramashiva himself in Mahakailasa, wherein instead of waging a war, she finally merges unto him in love and oneness. On day 10, we will be witnessing the grand marriage ceremony of Bhagwan Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi. And on day 11, we will be witnessing their grand procession on the chariots on the streets of the city of Madurai. And on day 12, we will be witnessing the divine incident of Bhagwan Vishnu as Kallalakar entering the sacred waters of Vaigai to grace the grand marriage ceremony of Bhagwan Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi. And on the last day of day 13, we will be witnessing the Tirthavari, where the deities will be immersed in the sacred water bodies and formally concluding the 13-day festival. Hinduism is a tradition of everyday celebration. Every day calls for a unique celebration in the Hindu tradition. All the Hindu temples around the world have this 10-day, 13-day, 21-day Brahmotsavams almost every single month, engaging the people of the ecosystem in these grand festivals, keeping their consciousness immersed in oneness with the Lord, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivamam. continuously inspires, urges all his devotees, followers, disciples worldwide to embrace the cosmic principles and the very organic indigenous lifestyle of Sanatana Hindu Dharma in order to revive the enlightened civilization that once upon a time existed on the planet as the mainstream civilization. It is the untiring effort of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the culmination of it, which has resulted in the only Hindu nation today, the nation of Kailasa, purely established to revive the enlightened ancient Sanatana Hindu civilization, which once upon a time existed across the entire planet, which has the great rishis, the great sages as part of it. The great sages are none other than our very ancestors in this enlightened ancient Hindu Sanatana civilization, which the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving. For it is this indigenous organic lifestyle of Adishaivism which is the only hope for humanity to once again start living the powerful lifestyle of our ancestral rishis, to once again start living life in its peak potential, rising above all the mundane struggles that we are facing today, that humanity at large is struggling with. During the period of Devi Meenakshi, the civilization itself was governed by the feminine energy of Devi Paramashiva Shakti herself as the ultimate sovereign, Devi Meenakshi. Devi Meenakshi had an order of Ashtasakhi, which was a cabinet of 8 women through whom she ruled the entire civilization. The Ashtasakhi were the matriarchs of the civilization who executed her every command and raised the entire civilization. The Ashtasakhi established institutions for the Rudra Kanyas, who were the young women and girls who were given specialized training. They were the temple dancers and the temple administrators of all the enlightenment ecosystems around the world. They were the Rudra Kanyas. During Meenakshi's reign, she revived this lineage, and each of these Rudra Kanyas was brought up like the Queen Meenakshi herself, and they were trained in all the 64 arts. Meenakshi's kingdom was known for advanced healthcare. It was during Meenakshi's period that Madurai was known for the grand revival of the Siddha tradition. Madurai is the land of Siddhas, the ancient enlightened mystics who were known for such advanced indigenous healthcare through sacred herbs. With the Ashtasakhi and the Rudrakanyas trained as the ancient doctors, the healthcare of the entire civilization was made as a priority, eradicating most diseases and increasing the longevity of the people, which made it possible for intense creation to happen and for the advancement of the entire civilization. Though already established, Devi Meenakshi personally supervised the reconstruction of the city of Madurai to what it is today. The city would be the model for many cities to come during her period. She not only governed the city, but attended to her subjects daily as their very own cosmic mother. She provided for each of them, not only with their physical needs, but the needs of their very consciousness, their soul. There were times she even went into the city in disguise to understand her subjects more and their needs more. She personally attended to every single family who was in her rule, and therefore she earned her place in their hearts for generations into the future, even until today. All the Tamil texts, poems, and other sacred Tamil literature refer to Irayanar as the Paramashiva, as the greatest embodiment who lived on the earth. as Bhagavan Somasundareshwara and founded the very basis of their living. Evidence to this is the Irayanar Agapporul, the oldest of these texts, recognized as the most sacred treatise authored directly by Paramashiva himself while he was in the physical form when he established this most ancient civilization. It was a sacred doctrine that contained the original instructions of Paramashiva on artistic expression out of oneness, as well as the earliest guidance on language itself. Irayanar Sundareshwara established this civilization and founded the protocols of the ways of ancient living based on Jivan Mukti or living enlightenment. The ruling seat of the civilization was this Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam. This period was several thousand years before the reign of Devi Meenakshi. Bhagavan Sundareshwara first established this enlightenment ecosystem and graced it once again with Devi Meenakshi several thousand years later. Today, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, himself is once again the spiritual head of the city of Madurai, the Shyamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam, as the 293rd Pontiff, much to the delight of his beloved people of Madurai. Literary references from the oldest Tamil texts all point to a being who founded the great kingdom, which served as the center of this entire civilization, that single being Irayanar Sundareshwara himself. It is the pride and privilege of the sannyasis, the disciples, and devotees of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to be serving this Aushadha Annadhan to the people of Madurai, right from this location of Kailasa, which is the very location where Devi Meenakshi stepped out of the Putra Kameshti Yajna fire as a 3-year-old divine child, and the very location from where Bhagavan Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi ruled the kingdom of Madurai and all the 56 nations conquered by Devi Meenakshi. The lineage of pontiffs of this great Madurai kingdom enjoyed various privileges and special acts in the ancient times. The appointment of the Guru Mahasannidhanam or the ruling pontiff is referred to as the Pandya Niyamana Murai or the Pandya coronation procedure, and all the successors are crowned with a ruling staff and a crown and given the right to conduct all administration, which is referred to as the Sakala Nirvagangalayum Vahikkirathu in the mother document. The British government in India recognized the Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam as a state and the Guru Mahasannidhanam as the head of the state. Even during the British rule, the British Empire respected the Pontiff of Madurai Adinam as the reigning monarch of the Pandya kingdom. And a regent is a person appointed to govern a state because the monarch is a minor or absent or incapacitated. And when the 289th Pontiff of the Madurai Adinam left his body in 1904, his successor was only 11 years old. And in this year, the British invoked the Regency Act to take the 11-year-old pontiff under their protection. In 1905, when the child turned 12 and became a major, as per the British rule, his coronation was performed by the district judge of the government, and the kingdom of Madurai was handed back to the pontiff. As per the Code of Civil Procedure under Section 641, the Shaiva High Governor in Council exempts the Shaiva Samayacharya Tirujnana Sambandha Pandara Sannidhi Avargal, the Shaiva High Priest of Madurai, from personal appearance in the courts of the presidency. This shows that the heads of the Shamalapita Sarvagnya Peetam, the Guru Maha Sannidhanams, are also recognized as the heads of the state, and they are not subject to any prosecution and any appearance in front of any court. Such was the highest honors given to these Guru Maha Sannidhanams of the Shamalapita Sarvagnya Peetam, the spiritual kingdom of Madurai. The 289th Guru Maha Sannidhanam of the Shamalapita Sarvagnya Peetam received the title Rao Bahadur during the British reign, through which they recognized the status as the very rulers of the kingdom of Madurai. This glorious city of Madurai has seen the glories of Bhagavan Paramashiva and Devi Meenakshi in physical form, and it has also witnessed unprecedented genocide in the hands of invaders. The genocide of Hindus in Madurai holds some of the most shocking crimes against humanity that took place during the medieval era, resulting in significant loss of life and immense financial damage to the temple treasuries. Driven by religious intolerance, it led to the destruction of numerous temples and the theft of billions of dollars. The reinstating of the living manifestation of Paramashiva himself, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, to the seat of the spiritual kingdom of Madurai is hugely significant for not only the people of Madurai, but for the whole of humanity, as it is through the revival of the Kailasa ecosystem, the Kailasa lifestyle, that humanity is going to receive its superconscious breakthrough with the grace and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, which is the very purpose of his descent on the planet. Therefore, the revival of every ancient Hindu kingdom through the grace and rule of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, is a huge leap forward for the whole of humanity in its journey to superconsciousness. The coronation of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that happened on the 27th of April, 2012 was a landmark event in the history of Hinduism. The 292nd Guru Mahasannidhanam, who was very well acquainted with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for many years, conveyed to him that he received a divine mandate from Bhagavan Somasundareshwara and Meenakshi themselves to crown the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as his next successor. And to execute this divine mandate, he immediately arranged for the coronation ceremony. The coronation ceremony happened on the 27th of April, 2012 in Adi Kailasa, Bangalore, India, and on the 29th of April, 2012 in Shamalapita Sarvajna Peetham in Madurai itself. Within a month of the coronation, the legal and functional requirements fell into place, and as a result, a huge change in the course of history was masterfully orchestrated. For this grand lineage started by Paramashiva himself. And this glorious lineage of Madurai was once again in the hands of Paramashiva himself through the living manifestation of Paramashiva, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism lost no time in launching the revival activities of Kailasa in the city of Madurai. Immediately after the coronation, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, along with hundreds of disciples, devotees, and sannyasis, proceeded to his beloved city of Madurai to commence the grand restoration work, the grand revival work. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism initiated several projects to revive the spiritual epicenter of Hinduism: physical restoration of land and heritage, social welfare through free service of food and medical camps, spiritual upliftment through programs, spiritual discourses and darshan, and above all, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism gave the biggest gift to the people of Madurai, his very physical presence. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism launched the restoration of the Madurai Adinam, one of the oldest Hindu monasteries of Shamalapita Sarvajna Peetham. Under the fold of the Madurai Adinam are the four world-famous temples: the Agneshwarar temple in Kanjanur, the Pannaga Parameshwarar temple in Pannagathiru, the Sakshinadar Swami temple in Tirupurambiyam, Tanjavur, and the Kachineshwarar temple in Kachanam. Being an establishment that was centuries old, the Madurai Adinam's construction needed special attention and repair. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, personally spearheaded the revival and restoration activities of the Shamalapita Sarvajna Peetham, the Madurai Adinam building, and the restoration of these four temples in the city of Madurai, a huge effort was launched for the welfare of the people. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism sought to make the basic needs of the people available freely, such as food and medical care. From the moment of his appointment, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism provided the Aushadha Annadhan for up to 3,500 people every single day in the city of Madurai. On an average, over 125 kgs of rice was cooked each day, and the food was served 3 times a day from the Madurai Adinam premises, prepared as per the Bhagashastra, the revelations of Bhagavan Paramashiva in the Hindu source scriptures on the methodology to prepare food conducive for conscious growth. It is the very science of cooking, as disclosed by Paramashiva himself, where he details the best combination of ingredients to be consumed by a being for acquiring a healthy and enlightened body. The food is prepared with the accompaniment of special mantras, chants, and kirtans, sacred hymns, infusing positive vibrations into the food, which acquires the power to spiritually heal and uplift the people. The blissful volunteers of Kailasa, Madurai, cook and serve the hot food to the people, nourishing not only their bodies but their very souls. And on special occasions such as this in Madurai, which is a Chithirai Peruvizha, as well as the monthly Brahmotsavam festivals, the Kailasa Madurai opens its doors to the devotees of Bhagavan Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi through unbroken Aushadha Annadhan Seva, free food served, food infused with conscious energy for conscious growth. During the period following the coronation, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism ran continuous free medical services from Madurai Adinam, equipped with multi-speciality diagnostic machines, offering the people of Madurai fundamental and advanced medical care. And this included door-to-door free services in cases of patients requiring even minor surgeries, making these services available to one and all without any charges whatsoever. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism even opened a free 24-hour dialysis clinic to serve the large numbers of renal failure occurring in Madurai due to the excessively hard water in the region. It is the vision of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, to revive the original water supply system of Madurai, which is the Vaigai River, and the sacred waters of the Vaigai water system. In the words of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, I am going to revive Kailasa, the enlightened civilization on the planet Earth. In Madurai, I am going to launch the flights as per Kailasa, the transportation system as per Kailasa, the water supply system as per Kailasa, the telecommunication system as per Kailasa. Everything I am going to revive in Madurai as it was during Meenakshi Sundareshwara's time. The water supply system in Madurai is called Vaigai. The entire ground was used for this water supply. Anywhere you put your hand, you get water. That is why it was called Vaigai. Vai meaning placing your hand, Kai meaning hand, Vai meaning placing your hand. So therefore, anywhere you placed your hand, water would spring forth. The whole Madurai system, this was the water supply system. In the whole of Madurai, Vaigai was not just the name of the Vaigai river. It is the name of the storage, the river, as well as the entire water supply system, where you just place your hand and water springs forth from the ground. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revealed his vision for Madurai that this system, water supply system of Vaigai, would be revived in all its glory. The very methodology and technology of which is from Kailasa itself, from Bhagavan Paramashiva. Bhagavan Sundareshwara brought Vaigai to Madurai through his Shiva Bhuta, his Shiva Gana, his disciple Gundodaran, who implemented it successfully under the guidance of Bhagavan Paramashiva. On the day of Devi Meenakshi's marriage to Bhagavan Somasundareshwara, Paramashiva himself, Bhagavan Sundareshwara ordered Gundodaran, his Shiva Bhuta, who was the in charge of the water supply system in Kailasa, to activate the Vaigai water system in Madurai. And he brought the whole water supply system to Madurai and implemented it. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revealed as part of his vision that he will be starting the worship, the prayers, the offerings, and the surrender to Vaigai and to Gundodaran himself, the great Shiva Bhuta, who was the minister of the water supply ministry of Kailasa, and bring back this entire water system of Vaigai to the city of Madurai. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism reminds us there is no expiry date for the products from Kailasa, which includes this Vaigai water system. In the same fashion, there was a telecommunication system that existed in Madurai during Devi Meenakshi's reign, during what is known as the Krishna Shila, the granite slabs that were existent during Devi Meenakshi's time, through which she would appear in high resolution, high density image form and address her people. These granite slabs, the Krishna Shilas, were the televisions that existed during Devi Meenakshi's time, powered purely through spiritual means. And through these granite slabs, she would appear to her subjects, to her dear citizens, and deliver her direct message to them. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has successfully revived this entire Krishna Shila based power manifestation system today, where the initiates who have received the Diksha, the initiation from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, manifest the power of projecting remote visions on the granite slabs called the Krishna Shila, and they are able to make others see their projections as well. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has declared that soon he will be reviving this Krishna Shila based television system that existed during the time of Meenakshi. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has also declared that he will be reviving the transportation system as it existed during the rule of Devi Meenakshi. And he has further revealed that all of this great revival of the Kailasa lifestyle and products that existed up to the time of Devi Meenakshi requires only the fundamental thing, which is a large group of people living in oneness with Paramashiva. And it is towards this that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is working untiringly, day and night, delivering powerful cognitions to the people at large, giving them huge breakthroughs in their cognition, initiating them into the various spiritual powers of Paramashiva, which was once upon a time a lifestyle for our ancestral rishis. Our ancestral rishis lived a life of sheer power manifestation. They contributed their great inventions and discoveries in every single conceivable field, whether in the field of mathematics or physics or chemistry or astronomy or astrology. It is our ancestral rishis' contributions that stand till today as references for even modern day scientists. Their contributions, their inventions and discoveries remain unsurpassed till date. And all of this was possible because of the enlightening lifestyle that they lived with the grace of Paramashiva, the lifestyle of oneness, of Advaita, through which They reflected Paramashiva in his purest form, and as perfect reflections of Paramashiva, they were perfect mediums and channels through which Paramashiva delivered these inventions and discoveries, and they formed the enlightened civilization of Kailasa, which is what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving today as the living incarnation of Paramashiva himself. A task achievable only by Paramashiva and none other. A task colossal, and which is the need of the hour for humanity at large, that has passed through and is passing through one of its worst struggles ever recorded in the passage of time, which is what has pulled the incarnation of Paramashiva to happen once again on the planet, keeping his promise to humanity that he will appear in physical form every time humanity reaches its lowest ebb in the zone of consciousness, requiring Paramashiva himself to intervene at the cosmic level and physical level and restore humanity to its original poise and purpose, which is living an enlightened lifestyle and reflecting Paramashiva perfectly within. We are having the darshan of the glorious temple towers of the Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple, gloriously lit, marking the celebration of the Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam, the 13-day festival which celebrates the life, the glory, and the message of Devi Meenakshi and Bhagavan Somasundareshwara. From Shamalapita Sarvagnya Peetam, the Kailasa campus of Madurai, where the Aushadha Annadhan is happening, one sees this glorious view of the Meenakshi Sundareshwara temple towers. From the Kailasa Madurai, we get a view of all the 12 temple towers of the Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple, as you are now witnessing. The mere darshan of temple towers in the Hindu tradition is considered as one of the most powerful means of raising our consciousness and liberating us from our own ignorant deeds. It is called the Gopura Darisanam. And you are now having the Gopura Darisanam of the glorious temple towers of the Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple of the city of Madurai. The view from Kailasa, Madurai, where the Aushadha Annadhan service is being offered to the people during this auspicious festival time. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has further revealed that he will revive the food supply system that existed in ancient Kailasa, how the food was abundant by the grace of Paramashiva and Devi Meenakshi. And everyone in Madurai always felt everything was abundant during her rule. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has promised that it will be brought back. And today, we have, as evidence in front of our own eyes, the continuous non-stop Aushadha Annadhan Seva, the food seva being offered to the people of Madurai. It is the vision of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that anywhere the Kailasa ecosystem is located around the world, the people living in the vicinity of the ecosystem should find no need to light their own home kitchen fire, as they should know that they can simply walk into the Kailasa ecosystem and have their meal any time of the day, 24/7. And it is not just a meal for the hungry stomach, it is a meal to nourish the very soul, a meal to give the conscious growth to those consuming it. This is the vision revealed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to all his devotees and disciples and sannyasis who assume responsibilities of the Kailasas, Nithyananda Annalayas, the food temples of Kailasa around the world, that they must provide food around the clock, the Aushadha food around the clock, and the people living around the Kailasa ecosystem should find no need to light their own home kitchen fire. And to execute this divine mandate of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the devotees, disciples, and sannyasis of Kailasa worldwide work untiringly, as we are witnessing today in front of our own eyes, continuously procuring the ingredients required for the Aushadha Annadhan, which runs into tons and tons of ingredients, and preparing the food and serving the food continuously to the people day and night. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has also revealed that he will be reviving the education system of Kailasa, which is a cosmic downloading based education system. At a time and age of the internet, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving the primordial education system which downloads from the very cosmic archives, the Gurukul based education system, the power manifestation based education system, where through sheer manifestation of spiritual powers, the knowledge is directly downloaded from the cosmic archives and delivered as the various sciences to the people. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has inaugurated the Rajavidya Gurukul in the Kailasa, Madurai, the most ancient system of knowledge transmission of Kailasa. And it is the vision of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that several lakhs of students will be studying the Rajavidya Gurukul of Kailasa, Madurai. The cosmic downloading based education system, where there will be huge libraries for people to access the ancient Hindu scriptures revealed by Paramashiva through the rishis, the great rishis and the sages who lived once upon a time, who are our own ancestors. The Aushadha Annadhan service is continuing to be offered to the people of Madurai during this inaugural day, day 1 of the Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam. The various Kailasa ecosystems around the world established by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, embark on marathon Aushadha Annadhan Sevas during the festival seasons, apart from the everyday Annadhan that happens in all these locations around the world. Every single day, free food, free Aushadha Annadhan is served to the people in the ecosystem living in and around Kailasa, everywhere in the world, and on festive occasions such as this, which is the 10-day, 13-day, 17-day, and 21-day Brahmotsavam festivals. A marathon Aushadha Annadhan Seva is offered to the people, sometimes stretching up to even 36 hours without a break. We are continuing to have the Aushadha Annadhan Seva in Madurai, and now we are continuing to have the darshan of the temple towers of the Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple of Madurai. From the time this Kailasa in Madurai, on the eastern side of the Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple, was illegally acquired, officially acquired by Kailasa, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, ensured multiple forms of revival of Kailasa. The sannyasis at Kailasa, Madurai, diligently every single day would wake up even before the Brahma Muhurta, which is 4:30 to 6 a.m. They would wake up at 2:30 in the morning, as per the guidance of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and go through their rigorous yogic training, and then proceed to the Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple every single day to witness the Palli Elichi ritual, which is a ceremonious waking up of the Lord and his divine consort as per the Hindu tradition. And they would carry with them fresh cow's milk as an offering, as the first offering to the Lord in his Abhisheka, his sacred bath. And they would witness this entire ritual in the temple and then come back to Kailasa, Madurai, here, and perform their Anmarta Puja, their Guru Puja, and Shiva Puja, the Paramashiva Puja, and then sit to receive the powerful cognitions from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, which he delivers through his everyday morning global presidential address. They would sit and receive with deep listening the powerful cognitions from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism directly. And only after that, they would disperse into the various activities, the various services and departments of Kailasa. This is a spiritual routine followed by the sannyasis in Kailasa, Madurai, where the day starts at 2:30 in the morning. And their first offering is to Bhagavan Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi at the Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple, following which they complete their spiritual routine in Kailasa, Madurai, and then disperse to attend to their various responsibilities in Kailasa, Madurai. World over, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has successfully established the authentic, original Shaivite lifestyle, where the Shaivite is supposed to wake up during the sacred Brahma Muhurta time, the 4:30 to 6 a.m., 1.5 hours before sunrise, and go through the traditional bodily cleansings called the Panchakriya, following which the Kailasians worldwide perform the yogasanas, what is called as the Prathama Vinyasa Krama, a sequence of 108 yogic postures for enlightenment and holistic healing. A powerful tool given directly by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for healing at the physical, mental, and spiritual levels, and preparing the body and mind as a yogic body and Vedic mind to manifest the powers of Paramashiva directly. The first 5 hours of every single day constitutes the spiritual routine of every Kailasavasi and every follower of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism who follows his teachings. As per his teachings, they wake up during the Brahma Muhurta time of 4:30 and go through the traditional bodily cleansing, what is known as the Panchakriya, following which they perform the 108 yogic asanas called the Prathama Vinyasa Krama, following which they offer the Guru Puja and Paramashiva Puja. Each one of them is initiated directly by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism into offering puja to Paramashiva to their own Spatika lingas, the crystal lingas, which each of them owns personally, gifted to them through initiation by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself. They offer the Guru Puja and the Shiva Puja, following which they receive the powerful cognitions from the spiritual discourses, the global presidential addresses of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and they start their day after being empowered by the spiritual powerful cognitions from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. This spiritual morning routine is the greatest and pure gift from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to each of his disciples, devotees, and followers worldwide. Today, using the modern day technology, the followers and devotees of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism gather in Zoom sessions around the world. Powered by the Zoom technology, they congregate in the virtual world, in the internet, through the internet, and perform the spiritual routine in large groups as congregations, inspiring more and more people to join them during the sacred Brahma Muhurta time of 4:30 a.m. every single day. This is the authentic lifestyle of a Shaivite that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has successfully established for his followers worldwide, which helps them to consistently build a yogic body, a Vedic mind, and nourish the soul consistently and remain on the path of Jivan Mukti or living enlightenment. This is one of the unparalleled gifts bestowed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism on his disciples, devotees, and followers, where the first 5 hours of the day are spent personally for our living enlightenment, for us to radiate Paramashiva, for us to constantly remind ourselves and chew in our inner space the powerful cognitions from Sanatana Hindu Dharma, the cosmic principles given to us as practical instructions by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We are continuing to watch the Aushadha Annadhan Seva happening in Kailasa, Madurai, the Shamalapita Sarvagnya Peetam, the kingdom of Madurai. The current ruling spiritual head being the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, seated, coronated as the 293rd Pontiff of the Shamalapita Sarvagnya Peetam. On this day 1 of the Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam, we are witnessing the Aushadha Annadhan food being served to the people. As part of the intense yogic training that happens in Kailasa, Madurai, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revived the Mallakamba, also known as the pole yoga, and the Kundalini Rajju, also known as the rope yoga, ancient yogic traditions, which help to build an intense yogic body built with flexibility, strength, at the same time, prepared to radiate the powers of Paramashiva. Here in Kailasa, Madurai, the sannyasis of Kailasa practice the Mallakamba, which gained much popularity with the people of Madurai having the opportunity to directly witness this Mallakamba being practiced as it happened on the very top floor of this campus where the Aushadha Annadhan is happening now, this Kailasa campus in Madurai. The people of Madurai had the opportunity to witness the Mallakamba being practiced and performed by the sannyasis of Kailasa. The people of Madurai have their deep gratitude to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for reviving this ecosystem in multiple ways and happening in their lives, enlightening them in multiple ways. As we can see today, this Aushadha Annadhan, through the component of food, which forms a very important lifestyle of every human being, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reaching out to the people, enlightening them through this very component of food. As per the vision of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, distributing free food to one and all is one of the 5 pillars of KAILASA. Food is an important component of our lives. The majority of the human population eats 3 times a day, and whose food and thought currents and intention, what is called the sankalpa in the Hindu tradition, goes into making the food and serving it, it is what that enters the consciousness of the person eating the food. This is the science of Aushadha, as revealed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has further explained this truth through an incident in the Mahabharata, where Bhishma Pita is about to leave his body after the onset of Uttarayana, Punyakala, and Yudhishthira, the eldest among the Pandava brothers, comes to take his blessings. Bhishma Pita gives a long lesson to him on the Rajaniti, how to run the kingdom. And when it comes to the chapter of women's rights and freedom, Draupadi, the wife of the Pandava brothers, is unable to control herself and starts laughing. Bhishma Pita asks her why she is laughing, and Draupadi replies, "Oh grandfather, sorry, but I am unable to control myself. But what happened to all your laws, knowledge, and teachings when I was abused by Duryodhana and Duschadana, who were disrobing me in your court? Why did you not open your mouth and say even 1 or 2 words to them?" Bhishma Pita replies, "O my daughter, understand, from whoever you eat, from whose hands you take your food, you imbibe their quality. Duryodhana is the king. I cannot speak anything against him. I could have at least walked out of the court to show that I was not happy. But when you eat somebody's food, when you are taken care by somebody, when your basic food is supplied by somebody, you imbibe their quality. That is why in the Vedic tradition they say you should eat the Guru's food, because then you will imbibe his quality." Bhishma Pita continues to explain how Bhagavan Sri Krishna took away all the blood in his body that was created from Duryodhana's food by piercing his body through Arjuna's arrows. And now only the bone and bone marrow given by his father and mother remains, and therefore he has regained his knowledge of right and wrong, the dharma, the rajaniti, the knowledge about ruling the kingdom. Therefore, food plays a very important role in the way we exist, how our qualities manifest, our consciousness, and how we experience ourselves, how we experience God, how we experience the world, and how others experience us. The science of Aushadha is one of the oldest Hindu sciences, tradition, and lifestyle. On the 4th of November 2018, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revealed how the science of Aushadha wakes you up literally, physically. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism explains how the mind is established on the brain. It uses the brain to cognize and operate. The physical size and shape and capabilities of the brain matters when you want to live a responsible, conscious, mature mental life. When you eat Aushadha food, there will not be any conflict between your body and mind because the brain's growth will be so complete. It will be able to hold the highest cognitions of the mind that has matured. But when you eat altered food, you develop a certain lifestyle, a set of even diseases and mental patterns, and you start needing medical attention during your entire lifetime. Because of the food-like products that is available today in the market, the brain's capabilities are drastically brought down. A deep tiredness is invoked in your body. You feel like you are beaten every day and made to sleep. The boredom invoked in your mind is mainly because of the food-like products available today. Aushadha clears the parasites you build into your system due to such non-organic, unnatural, toxic food. Aushadha expands your body and brain to hold the space of Mahasadashiva within you. It heavily, intensely opens up and awakens the fire of Mahasadashiva in you for you to manifest the powers of Mahasadashiva, of Paramashiva, for which you are originally hardwired. These are some of the truths revealed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashhivam, on Aushadha-based food. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism continuously serves Aushadha Annadhan worldwide, thus bringing the living enlightenment software and its principles into the food that is being served. So anyone who consumes it starts radiating and manifesting these very principles as a reality in their life. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has repeatedly explained innumerable times the importance of basic vegetarian food and peaceful coexistence of human beings with all other creatures on the planet. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has explained that even global warming is because of the non-vegetarian industry. And this truth is evidenced in the Google statistics as well. During his address on the 5th of October 2013, on the occasion of the 41st International Vegetarian Union or the World Veg Fest and the 6th Asian Vegetarian Congress at Kuala Lumpur, celebrating the 108th year of the Vegetarian Union, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism gave his direct appearance and explained the relation between vegetarian food and awakening of our Kundalini energy, our enlightenment energy that is resident in each one of us, which needs to be awakened for us to have the superconscious breakthrough. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism explains, we become what we eat. Anything we eat becomes us. One part of what we eat becomes our bone, our muscle, our flesh, blood. One part of what we eat becomes our words. One part of what we eat becomes our thinking. One part of what we eat becomes our feeling. One part of what we eat becomes our being. Our Kundalini Shakti is what we call our bioenergy. When we kill an animal for our food and consume that as food, what are all the effects happening to our inner potential energy? And if we eat vegetarian food, sattvic diet, meaning pure vegetarian food, then what happens to our potential energy is something we need to understand. Our flesh has the capacity to store memory. All our memories are stored and recorded in our flesh. You can, or in our muscle, bone marrow, bone, different names you can give, but it is stored in our body. In that, you can give deeper inner names as well, like the brain, the heart, the liver, kidney, the names of different organs. But the ultimate truth is, memories get stored in our flesh, in our body. That is why certain memories, when they are rekindled in you, certain organs in your body get immediately affected. As an example, if you become upset and start feeling depressed, immediately your stomach will get attacked. You will have a stomach upset because the depression attacks the navel center. In Sanskrit, we have a word, the Manipuraka energy center, situated in the navel. Therefore, each emotion, memory, heals or kills, makes or breaks certain parts of your body. Your emotions and your body are very closely connected because your memories are recorded in your body. Therefore, when an animal is killed, the animal is not going to be blessing you when it is dying. Naturally, it is going to express so much of hatred, fear, anger, unfulfilled desire for life, and a deep incompletion. When it is dying, it is going to release such powerful incompletions into its muscle memory, into its bio memory, into its body, so many powerful poisonous toxins, chemicals. So the basic truth is, when you eat such food filled with so much of incomplete bio memory, incomplete memories, your own muscle memory and bio memory are going to be created only out of such food. There are tons of researches available in the internet to prove that the crime rates and depression in the non-vegetarian based societies is much higher than in the vegetarian food based societies. And surveys also prove that vegetarians are happier people than meat eaters. And all the surveys prove that vegetarians are more non-violent in their thinking and feeling and in their actions than meat eaters. Study in nutritional journal records that vegetarians have lower incidences of depression, anxiety, and other mood problems than their meat eating counterparts. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism quotes the great Saint Adi Shankaracharya, who says, purifying your food purifies your memory. And when your memory is purified, your consciousness is purified. And when the consciousness is purified, all the blessings of life is showered on you. Sharing food is a very important show of love among human beings and even among animals. Our body is naturally designed for vegetarian food. Our feeling, our thinking, words, everything is designed to function with vegetarian food. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism likens eating vegetarian food to having a generator which can handle only 220 volt, whereas when you have non-vegetarian food, you are supplying 20,000 volts to your system. It will simply blow out. Our system is designed by its very nature for vegetarian food. And when we dump inappropriate food, such as non-veg food and food-like products into our system, we face its consequences. Many people present arguments to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that in ancient times, human beings were non-vegetarians. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism clearly responds, no, they were fruit eaters, they were vegetarians, leaf eaters, fruit eaters. Only when they started killing animals to save themselves, to protect themselves, they started thinking that disposing them is a difficult job and eating them may be a better way of disposal. That is the way first human beings started making their stomachs a graveyard for animals. Originally, we are not designed for meat eating. Basically, our body is designed for vegetarianism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism clearly reveals this in uncompromising terms. He further explains the nuances to help us understand. All non-vegetarian animals will have only the vertical movement of the jaws, no sideway movements, whereas all vegetarian animals will have vertical and horizontal movements. Human beings have both the movements of the jaw. It means we are designed for vegetarian food. Unfortunately, we have the freedom to do anything we want, and we misuse and abuse the freedom. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism clearly reveals we are born to be vegetarians. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism urges humanity, if majority of the population of countries decides to live with vegetarian food, the agitation that human beings experience, the depression they experience, the fear they experience will drastically drop, and that will really help the peace, joy, and prosperity of humanity. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism clearly reveals that one of the greatest calamities that has happened to humanity is the non-vegetarian lifestyle. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism defines what is meant by pure food. Food in Sanskrit is described in 3 words, Jati dosha, Nimitta dosha, and the Ashraya dosha. It means food getting impure, 1, by its very nature, 2, by its muscle memory, and 3, by means of the persons handling it. When we say impure by its very nature, we mean if it is obtained by stealing methods or killing methods or by depriving somebody, then it becomes impure food. Then you will have the anxiety to quickly grab it and finish it off before it gets snatched away from your hands because of its very source. And therefore, in this first level itself, the non-vegetarian food comes under the impure category because we are stealing the flesh of the animal after killing the animal. The second, the nimitta dosha, is when the food becomes impure by its muscle memory, by the way the food comes to you. For example, the non-vegetarian food comes to you with so much of anger, fear, depression, biomemories filling it from the animal which has been killed. Therefore, it is impure food. The third, the ashraya dosha, is the food that becomes impure through the people handling it. Anything which is touched by a person who can commit a murder is going to carry that kind of an aura, biomemory or energy in it. And therefore, he adds more poison as his contribution to it. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism further explains that plants do not feel the suffering or pain or emotions in our level of frequency because the degree of life in them is different. And our body is also naturally designed for eating vegetables, fruits, basically a vegetarian diet. Just the right food, food pure by its very nature, by the very persons handling it, and by the very way it's brought to you. This kind of pure food alone is enough to kindle, awaken our Kundalini Shakti, our inner potential energy. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has gone in great depth to share various studies that have happened in this field of pure food. He has shared with us a study where in India, it has been observed that when people observe vegetarianism during particular months of the year for spiritual purposes, in those few months alone, the entire country's crime rate goes lower than the level in other months. And when you take vegetarian food, you also awaken your biomemory to be directly producing food and energy from space itself, like plants and trees. Plants and trees carry the quality or intelligence to directly produce their required energy from the sun, from the air, ether, and water. And when we regularly eat vegetarian food consciously, our biomemory also awakens with these same qualities. And when we take the support from conscious sources like meditations, a little yoga, receiving powerful cognitions, then we can see very clearly that that possibility is awakened in our biomemory. Followers of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism have experienced overcoming blood pressure, cholesterol, and innumerable health benefits after becoming vegetarians. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has taken the component of food in our lives to the next level, from the level of mere vegetarian food to the level of Aushadha-based food, where the food is not only vegetarian, sattvic, but also infused with conscious energy, which is conducive for our very conscious growth. Disciples and devotees of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism are continuing to serve the Aushadha Annadhan from Kailasa, Madurai, on this day 1 of the Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam, which is being celebrated in Madurai today. The commencement of the 13-day celebrations, which celebrates the life, the glories, and message of Devi Meenakshi and Bhagavan Somasundareshwara, who established this ecosystem of Madurai, the Kailasonnata Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam, the ancient spiritual kingdom of Madurai. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism being the 293rd, the current ruling pontiff of this spiritual kingdom of Madurai, the Kailasonnata Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam. Earlier in the day, Kailasa Madurai offered the Mandagappadi to Bhagavan Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi, who graced the streets of Madurai, who graced their devotees on this inaugural day of this festival, along with the Panchamurtis. As part of the Panchamurtis, Lord Ganesha, Lord Subramanya, Bhagavan Somasundareshwara, Devi Meenakshi, and Bhagavan Chandikeshwara. The Panchamurti procession passed by in the streets of Madurai, stopping right outside Kailasa, Madurai. And the disciples and devotees and sannyasis of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism offered the Mandagappadi to all the Panchamurtis. Mandagappadi is a traditional offering to the Lord when the Lord steps out in procession on the streets. In the Hindu tradition, we know that our very source is the divine itself. The divine showers us with abundance in our lives, and we, as our gratitude to the divine, offer a portion of the abundance as this traditional mandagapadi, which constitutes royal robes for the Lord, magnificent flower garlands, and all the items used in worship of the Lord, like the sacred abhisheka items like the vermilion, the sandal paste, the incense sticks, the camphor, the wick, even the oil, and various other items used in worship, the coconuts, the fruits, the flowers. All of this constitute the Mandagapadi offering. And this is offered to the Lord to receive his grace and blessings and to offer our deep gratitude to him every time the Lord steps out in procession. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivamam, has revived this tradition of offering Mandagapadi as a mainstream lifestyle for Kailasians worldwide. Therefore, in all the Kailasa ecosystems worldwide, whenever the main temple's deities in the vicinity steps out in procession, they offer the Mandagapadi and receive the grace and blessings. And following the Kailasians, all the people in the vicinity start practicing this tradition of offering Mandagapadi on their part as well, thus reviving this entire tradition of Mandagapadi worldwide with the grace and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Today is the flag hoisting of this 13-day Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam in Madurai. Earlier in the day, the flag was hoisted in the Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple in Madurai. The flag with the image of the Rishabha, the sacred bull of Paramashiva. And therefore it is called the Rishabha Dwaja. Rishabha symbolizes dharma, righteousness, and also symbolizes the individual soul. Therefore, the flag with this symbol of Rishabha is raised to symbolically show that both dharma and the individual soul are being raised by Paramashiva himself through this intense 13-day period of Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam, where Bhagavan Paramashiva, as Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi, specially grace all of humanity during these 13 days through this festival with an intense flow of energy, raising the very consciousness of the people. And today, which is the day 1, Bhagavan Somasundareshwara appeared in his grand procession, seated under the Kalpa Vriksha, the celestial boon-giving tree, from where he conducts the whole universe in the ethereal planes. The leaves and branches of this Kalpa Vriksha are the Vedas, the sacred Hindu scriptures revealed by Paramashiva himself. And Devi Meenakshi appeared in procession, seated on her royal Simhavahana, the lion vehicle. Every day during this 13-day festival, Bhagavan Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi appear in their grand procession on different Vahanas each day. Vahana meaning their vehicles. Today the Vahanas were the Kalpa Vriksha and the Simhavahana, the celestial boon-giving tree and the lion vehicle. Bhagavan Paramashiva is seated as the very root of this celestial tree, gracing and enlightening all of creation. We are continuing to have the glorious temple towers of the Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple. In Tamil, there is a saying, Gopura Darisanam, where just the darshan of the temple towers of these magnificent temples will liberate you in multiple ways in your inner space. Just having the vision of these temple towers itself is a tradition in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, a spiritual practice where the aspirant, merely by having the darshan of these temple towers, receives the grace and blessings of the divine. And these glorious temple towers were constructed with the blessings and grace of Paramashiva through the various regent kings of Hinduism during their time periods. The temple towers of the Meenakshi Amman temple in Madurai, which we are witnessing right now on our screens, has some of the most exquisite carvings ever in the history of temple tradition of Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Inconceivable, intricate sculptures constitute these temple towers. Each temple tower has been built over generations of skilled artisans, inspired by the regent kings who were devotees of Paramashiva, who received divine visions and dreams from Paramashiva, divine mandates, and the energy and inspiration to build these architectural wonders. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has time and again elaborately revealed to us on the temple traditions of Sanatana Hindu Dharma and on the science of temples and the need for these temples and the significance of living a temple-based lifestyle, a temple-centric lifestyle, which is the original Kailasa lifestyle, which created the enlightened civilization across the entire planet, which the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving today through establishing the only Hindu nation in the world, Kailasa. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has lived a temple-based lifestyle from day one, as evidenced in his golden childhood in Tiruvannamalai. And it is this temple-based lifestyle that he is reviving for us humanity as well. For the secrets to enlightened living lie in a temple-centric lifestyle. The great incarnation of Paramashiva, Tirujnana Sambandar, who is also the Guru Mudalvar of the glorious Guru Parampara of Shamalapeta Sarvajna Peetam. Guru Mudalvar meaning the first known incarnation in modern times. After Devi Meenakshi, who is from the prehistoric era, it is Tirujnana Sambandar, who is known to us in this unbroken lineage of gurus and disciples, the glorious Guru Parampara of the Madurai kingdom. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has described the glorious life of Tirujnana Sambandar, which is a mere 16 years on the planet, but a life filled with powerful cognitions, power manifestations, a life that was lived dedicated to the people, a life of service to the people, a life of revival of Shaivism, the beloved religion of the people, which is the original indigenous organic lifestyle established with the grace of Paramashiva himself through Paramashiva Shakti, Devi, his divine consort, in these various Kailasa ecosystems around the world, such as Madurai, Tiruvannamalai, Kanchipuram, and so on. It is this Adi Shaivism, which is the original indigenous organic lifestyle that the people lived even before the word religion was known or was coined. And it is this organic lifestyle that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, is reviving through the various Kailasa ecosystems. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has spoken extensively on Adi Shaivism in both Tamil and English, urging us to wake up to the importance of reviving Adi Shaivism, which is not a religion. It is the most ancient organic indigenous lifestyle to live an enlightened life. In his own words, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism reveals, Adi Shaivism is not a religion. Even before the word religion was coined, it existed as a spiritual lifestyle. It is the timeless culture given to us by Devi even before time started ticking. And Shaivism knows the technique to make all beings, not just human beings, manifest enlightenment. Animals, bhutas, pretas, worship Shiva and attain Kailasa. It is Paramashiva Shakti, Devi herself, who established Adi Shaivism in the ancient Hindu kingdoms of Madurai, Kanchipuram, Tiruvannamalai, and so on, when she came down from Kailasa. And this is what flourished as the enlightened civilization world over. And all other branches of Shaivism are from Adi Shaivism. In the words of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Kondai Katti, Kottai Katti, which means wearing the jatas, the Shiva jatas, the matted locks, and wearing the Rudrakshas, the energy beads of Paramashiva, is not a rule. It is a very big scientific boon of Shaivism. How much heavy jatas you are able to bear on your head, that much your consciousness will remain seated on the top of your head, and your Kundalini Shakti will raise continuously and keep you established in the space of Kailasa. Applying Bhasma, holy ash, Vibhuti is a boon. It will activate all the energies in your body. There are hundreds of reasons for each lifestyle, Charyapada action of Adi Shaivism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has further revealed, if I spread only yoga or only the Jnanapada, the spiritual powers of Hinduism, or only Kriyapada, which are the rituals of Hinduism, and leave alone the lifestyle, I would have earned trillions. These are all like the fruits. But Charyapada, the lifestyle given by Paramashiva, is the real boon given to us, the very root of the tree. Making people understand this is my first responsibility, and that is why so many attacks and hatred on me also. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism further reveals it is not just because there was no Diksha, initiation from incarnations, that the gap happened. It is also because this lifestyle that you started thinking is just ordinary, like Kondai Katti, Kottai Katti, disappeared. If it was just ordinary, will they keep the very title of community as Kondai Katti Mudalyar and Kottai Katti Mudalyar? Our ancestors inserted the very lifestyle habits into the titles of their own communities as their very identity. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revealed extensively on Adi Shaivism in his series of talks in the past years to help us understand the need to revive and live this Adi Shaivism, which is the original indigenous lifestyle established with the grace of Paramashiva by Devi Paramashiva Shakti herself on the planet, and which is now being revived by the living manifestation of Paramashiva, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. On the one side, we are witnessing the continuous Aushadha Annadhan Seva, the free food distribution to the people of Madurai from Kailasa, Madurai, with the grace and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And on the other side, we are continuing to have the darshan of the temple towers of the Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple of Madurai. As we are celebrating today, day 1 of the Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam, the 13-day festival in Madurai that celebrates the life, glories, and message of Devi Meenakshi, Bhagavan Somasundareshwara of Madurai, who established the Kailasonata Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam, the grand spiritual seat and university of ancient Madurai, the kingdom of Madurai, of which the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the current ruling pontiff as the 293rd Guru Mahasannidhanam, the ruling pontiff. Following Bhagavan Sundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi in this glorious Guru Parampara of Shamalapeta Sarvagnapetam, following Bhagwan Sundareshwara, who originally came down by himself and established this lineage. Following him are some of the known incarnations in this lineage, who are Kapila Muni, the great incarnation of Paramashiva, the reviver of the Mahanarvani Akhada, one of the most ancient apex bodies of Hinduism. And we have, of course, Devi Meenakshi herself, the incarnation of Devi Paramashiva Shakti, who revived the Shamalapeta Sarvagnapetam during her reign. And we have the Guru Mudalvar, the Guru Mahasannidhanam, Tirujnana Sambandar, again the incarnation of Paramashiva, who was born in Sirkadi in South India. And we have the 117th Guru Mahasannidhanam of this great kingdom of Madurai, Sri Adi Shankaracharya, another incarnation of Paramashiva, who is also known as the Shanmata Sthapanacharya, the reviver of the 6 ancient traditions, meaning the 6 main streams of worship in Sanatana Hindu Dharma dedicated to Paramashiva, Paramashiva Shakti, Lord Ganapati, Lord Subramanya, Mahavishnu, and Lord Surya. And we have in this lineage the Guru Mahasannidhanam, Sri 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 Kanta Shivacharya. And following him, we have a host of ruling pontiffs, right up to the immediate predecessor of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the 292nd Guru Mahasannidhanam, Sri Sri Arunagirinath Sri Jnanasambandha Desika Paramacharya Swami, who coronated, who recognized, who received a divine mandate from Paramashiva and Devi Meenakshi themselves to coronate the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the 293rd Pontiff, as Guru Mahasannidhanam, Bhagavan Srila Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, Sri Jnanasambandha Desika Paramacharya Swamigal, the 293rd Pontiff of the Madurai Kingdom, through a divine mandate directly from Paramashiva and Devi Meenakshi, the 292nd Pontiff, coronated the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the current ruling Pontiff of the Kingdom of Madurai. The 292nd Pontiff of Madurai himself personally experienced during his lifetime the extraordinary healing powers of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And he went on in various public platforms to share with the world his personal healing experience, where he was healed of his issue, of his health issue of asthma, through powerful healing from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And he shared this with the entire world for them to recognize and come to the feet of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to be healed, not just physically, but holistically, and to have the superconscious breakthrough that they are waiting for, knowingly or unknowingly in their life. The 292nd Pontiff of Madurai not only received the divine mandate directly from Paramashiva and Devi to coronate the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, but also personally experienced in his life the power and presence of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. Kailasa Madurai, with the grace and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, will be bringing to us live the everyday celebrations of this 13-day Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam happening in Madurai. Therefore, we wish to inform our dear viewers from all over the world to continue to tune in to this Kailasa channel, which is available through various social media platforms, and receive this pure gift, this divine gift from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, of being in the very comfort of your own homes and receiving the energy of Bhagavan Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi through the grace of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, and soak yourself in the energy of Paramashiva and Paramashiva Shakti, receive this energy and witness this Aushadha Annadhan being served, merely witnessing this seva happening to the devotees of Paramashiva from the sacred location of Kailasa Madurai is a spiritual practice on our side with the minimum least effort on our part. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has devised innumerable methods today to enlighten humanity with minimum effort or participation from our side. The least we can do is to tune in and receive this pure gift and continue to enlighten ourselves and soak ourselves in the energy of Paramashiva and experience oneness with Paramashiva and Paramashiva Shakti. Bhagwan Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi from Madurai, the beloved city of Paramashiva. Madurai, as declared by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, is the cultural capital of Hinduism. It is here that Bhagwan Somasundareshwara lived in physical form along with Devi Paramashiva Shakti as Devi Meenakshi and ruled the people of Madurai and people across 56 desas, 56 nations spread across the entire planet. And the people of Madurai experienced firsthand the miracles of Bhagwan Somasundareshwara, their beloved Chokkanada, to whom they would call out for every single distress in their lives, however small it might be, to however big it might be. Their only refuge, whether it was the kings of Madurai or whether it is the common townspeople of Madurai, their only refuge was Bhagwan Somasundareshwara, while Devi Meenakshi was immersed in administering the entire kingdom as the ruling incarnation queen. Bhagwan Somasundareshwara resided in the hearts of the people in his own ways, causing miracles to happen in their lives, responding to their calls with no delay, and bailing them out of their problems, however small or big they might be. Even today, the streets of Madurai resound with calls of Chokka by the beloved townspeople of Madurai to their beloved Lord, to bring them out of the life struggles. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, soon after his coronation as the 293rd Pontiff of the Kingdom of Madurai, graced the streets of Madurai to the sheer delight of the people of Madurai, who could feel the tangible presence of their beloved Lord once again on the streets. And we have innumerable records of the miracles happening once again in Madurai to the devotees of Paramashiva through the sheer physical presence of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the very living energy of Paramashiva and as the very ruling energy of Madurai as the 293rd Pontiff. In the months following the coronation in 2012, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, along with a large number of followers, stayed in Madurai Adinam, the monastery in Shamalapeta Sarvagnya Peetham, immersed in complete renovation of the building and in a host of socio-spiritual services that included serving of the Aushadha Annadhan to the people of Madurai, serving of the Jnana Pal, which is the very milk of enlightenment, which was fed directly to the saint Tirujnana Sambandar, one of the pontiffs and of Madurai kingdom, as well as the incarnation of Paramashiva, who at the tender age of 3 was fed with the very breast milk of Devi Parvati herself. She appeared along with Bhagwan Paramashiva and fed her breast milk to Tirujnana Sambandar, and this milk of enlightenment, with the blessings and grace of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, was once again served to the people of Madurai, energizing the milk with the sheer divine presence, blessing it as a prasada directly from Devi herself. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism served this Jnanapal to the beloved people of Madurai soon after the coronation in the year 2012. The people of Madurai walked into the Madurai Adinam in thousands to receive the Aushadha Annadhan and to receive the Jnanapal once again from Madurai Adinam after an extraordinarily long gap during the period after the period of Tirujnana Sambandar. It is after the period of Tirujnana Sambandar and his immediate successors, after a huge gap, that the people of Madurai are once again directly experiencing the tangible presence of Paramashiva in the form of the ruling pontiff and experiencing miracles in their lives and services directly from the divine hands of Paramashiva himself through the extended hands of his devotees, services such as the Aushadha Annadhan, spiritual healing. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has initiated millions of his followers worldwide to become spiritual healers, and through their hands, he directly heals the people. There are countless records of people who have had miraculous health recoveries after receiving spiritual healing from the initiated disciples and followers of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. In the kingdom of Madurai today, Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is offering all of these socio-spiritual services, the Aushadha Annadhan, free medical camps, continuous worship at the KAILASA Madurai altar, and worship at Devi Meenakshi Amman temple, and services such as the spiritual healing, serving of the Jnanapal, the enlightenment milk, and spiritual counseling for those who seek it. A host of such services are continuously offered to the people of Madurai and to the visitors of Madurai, to the devotees of Bhagavan Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi who visit Madurai to have their worship and blessings. To all of these people, Kailasa Madurai undauntedly serves free food and other spiritual services to raise their very consciousness with the grace and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism started the revival of Shaiva Siddhanta right from his childhood through his great Acharya, Vidwan Sri Panduranganaar in Tiruvannamalai, the birthplace of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Vidwan Sri Panduranganaar was a great proponent of Shaiva Siddhanta. His was a life dedicated to reviving the Shaiva Siddhanta philosophy. And it was under his most sincere tutelage that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism explored the Shaiva Siddhanta philosophy and started its revival right from his childhood for the people at large, for humanity at large. During the golden childhood of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in Tiruvannamalai, a mystical incident connected to the great saint Sri Tirujnana Sambandar, the incarnation of Paramashiva, happened in Tiruvannamalai when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was hardly 10 to 11 years of age. It was during the Tirujnana Sambandha Guru Puja festival, which was happening in Tiruvannamalai in the Arunachaleshwara temple. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was inside the Arunachaleshwara temple, witnessing this festival, gazing at the deity of Tirujnana Sambandar in deep samadhi at that young age. Recalling the divine incident when Devi Parvati herself came and gave her breast milk to Tirujnana Sambandar and enlightened him. That was the commemoration of this divine incident is the Tirujnana Sambandar Guru Puja festival that was happening inside the Arunachaleshwara temple in Tiruvannamalai. As the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, as a young child, of age 10 or 11, was standing and recalling this entire incident, lost in samadhi, gazing at the Tirunjana Sambandar deity. Tirunjana Sambandar himself emerged from the deity, carrying a golden cup in his hand, drinking the enlightened milk from it, and sprinkling the milk on his devotees who were gathered in thousands. And he walked directly towards the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism opened his mouth to receive the milk, a few drops of it fell into his mouth. And Tirunjana Sambandar thereafter walked straight into him and hugged him and disappeared unto him. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism woke up from his samadhi to grasp the divine happening that had happened. And soon after this, with that joy and ecstasy, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism at that young age started walking from Tiruvannamalai to Sirkali, where the incident originally happened in the life of Tirunjana Sambandar, where Devi Parvati appeared and fed him with her own breast milk. It took him up to 15 days to reach Sirkali, and he stayed in Sirkali and had darshan of the temple where the divine incident happened in the life of Tirunjana Sambandar, and came back to Tiruvannamalai by walk. During the aftermath of the coronation of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in the year 2012, as the 293rd ruling Pontiff of the Kingdom of Madurai, his predecessor, the 292nd Guru Mahasannidhanam, recalled this very incident from the golden childhood of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, sharing with the world at large this divine incident in his life as evidence for them. While he was explaining his divine mandate that he had received directly from Bhagavan Paramashiva and Devi Meenakshi through a divine darshan to coronate the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as his successor, as the 293rd chosen Guru Mahasannidhanam, the ruling Pontiff of the Kingdom of Madurai, recognizing the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as none other than the very incarnation of Paramashiva, the 292nd Pontiff of the Kingdom of Madurai, experienced himself firsthand the healing powers of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and continuously shared with the people the glories that he directly witnessed of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the living manifestation of Paramashiva. We are continuing to have the darshan of the temple towers of the Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple of Madurai, gloriously lit, celebrating the Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam, the 13-day festival celebrating the life, the glories and message of Devi Meenakshi and Bhagavan Somasundareshwara. It is the clarion call of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to humanity to wake up and live a cosmic law-centric lifestyle, to be free from all our individuals and global struggles that we face today. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has successfully established the only Hindu nation today, Kailasa, which functions on these very cosmic principles of peaceful coexistence. In his very words to humanity, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism says, "It is time we enrich the whole humanity for a dharmic life, for a cosmic law-centric lifestyle. We need to align ourselves and enrich others to align to the enlightened lifestyle. Consciousness-centric lifestyle is no more a luxury, it is a survival need. There are only two choices in front of us. Either all of us wake up and decide to make decisions and policies based on the cosmic principles revealed in the Vedas and Agamas, consciousness-centric lifestyle, enlightened civilizational thought currents, so we all coexist, which is the best way to exist. Or the other choice, if we do not wake up and decide to coexist, the other choice will be nothing will be left. It is time we all wake up and decide to align our lifestyle, our policies, everything centered on cosmic principles. It is time to look beyond our borders as a whole global family. Kailasa's effort is to unite all the nations. Uniting all the nations is fundamentally to enrich everyone with the highest values. Hinduism says very clearly, Ahimsa Paramo Dharmaha, non-violence is the ultimate cosmic principle. The natural law of the cosmos functions centered on ahimsa, non-violence, and coexistence. It is time we all wake up to this truth, Ahimsa Paramo Dharmaha. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism further reveals we can apply this principle, whether a simple decision of what you eat for your breakfast or the major decisions you make about relationships, the way to relate with other countries, external affair policies. In every level, it is time we bring enlightened principles, cosmic principles with a global vision. It is time we focus more on the right education, more than developing armies. It is time we focus more on researching longevity than researching biological weapons. Kailasa, the constitution of Kailasa, gives fundamental rights to all beings, not just Hindus or not just human beings. It gives the right to all beings to be treated as the manifestation of Paramashiva, the primordial divinity. The first amendment of Kailasa's constitution is the right to treat yourself and to treat others and to be treated by others as Paramashiva, God Himself. Let us all decide to respect, revere, honor, accept this and coexist with all beings. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism further reveals planet Earth is for animals too, not just for human beings. We human beings need to realize we cannot survive on the planet by eliminating all other species. It is time we wake up and treat all beings with not just human rights, with divine rights. All beings have a right to exist. It is time we look beyond the ideas of currency, beyond the ideas of army, beyond the ideas of political ideologies, beyond the ideas of political borders. It is time we look at the whole planet Earth and all the beings through cosmic principles. Kailasa is striving to present cosmic, conscious, enlightened, principle-centric model communities, ecosystems all over the world. With the blessings of Paramashiva and the gods and goddesses of Kailasa, we do have a territory, but we are not just a territory-centric nation. We are a territory-based civilizational nation. The territory is for us to stay and operate. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism further reveals it is time we all start looking beyond our borders. O Hindus all over the world, you are all successful. You are the richest ethnic minority in every country you have settled down, whether it is the United States of America or Canada or UK or Australia. But it is time you take these cosmic principles from Veda Agama Constitution and enrich the whole world. It is time we need to enrich the world with these cosmic principles and revive the ancient enlightened Sanatana Hindu civilization. It is not just removing the extreme poverty. It is not just stopping the deforestation. It is not just protecting animal rights. It is making everyone feel everything is divine. We need to look at everything from the principles of cosmos. It is time for us to wake up. Let us resolve, with the grace of Paramashiva, to stand for the principles that he himself has revealed in Vedas and Agamas and revive the ancient enlightened Sanatana Hindu civilization and cosmic principles. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism further reveals it is time we take these cosmic principles from the Veda Agamic constitution and enrich the whole world. We need to look at everything from the principles of the cosmos. Through these cosmic principles, let us protect planet Earth, the only home we have, survive, thrive through coexistence, not just through tolerance. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism urges us, in his own words, I sincerely request these lofty ideals, goals, policies should not just be in books, should come out to the real decision-making tables. All the statesmen, all the dignitaries, all the influencers in the world of entertainment, like the various celebrities, social media influencers, I request all of you, let us be the real change. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, is a living manifestation of Paramashiva, the avatar of this day and age. Bhagavan Sri Krishna, one of the greatest incarnations of all times, has revealed in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in the chapter 4, verse 7, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. The translation goes, as and when righteousness starts decaying and injustice is elevated, in all such situations, I create myself. Time and time again, true to Bhagavan Krishna's words, the great incarnations have happened on planet Earth. The great incarnations like Sri Ramachandra Prabhu, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Swami Narayan, or Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa in our more recent times, who have come down to planet Earth to bring humanity to a greater level of conscious awakening. For the breakthrough of this time and age that we are living in currently, the cosmic superconsciousness has embodied itself yet again in the divine form of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who has happened amongst us as a living manifestation of Paramashiva. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was recognized as the incarnation of Paramashiva by his gurus from his very birth. His gurus who prepared him for his avataric mission of reviving Kailasa, the ancient enlightened Sanatana Hindu civilization. Today, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revived all of the dimensions of Hinduism, from the powers of Paramashiva to the sacred scriptures, to the temple rituals, to the lifestyle for enlightened living. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has established Kailasas all over the world to uphold the teachings of Paramashiva in the form of temples, in the form of Paduka Mandirs, Satsang centers, Paramashiva Shakha centers, universities, and Sarvagnya Pithas. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revived the Sacred Arts University, which revives the temple tradition and the temple arts, which has produced over 1 million metal deities and distributed them to Kailasa ecosystems all over the world, as well as to other temples all over the world. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is recognized as the leader of Hinduism and has received more than 10,000 letters of commendation and recognition for his work of reviving this nation from country statesmen, religious leaders, and noteworthy personalities from across the globe. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been declared as Bhagwan and graces us with the title Jnana Vijnana Chakravarti, meaning the one who is accepted by all the great Hindu kings, leaders, as the supreme ruler or emperor of the various spiritual Sanatana Hindu kingdoms and the Samrajyas. The spiritual pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has been recognized and coronated as successor to 21 ancient Hindu kingdoms, and is assumed the humongous responsibility to revive these ancient kingdoms back to their pristine glory and rebuild the Enlightenment ecosystems in these kingdoms. However, the outstanding of all the contributions of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the revival of a Hindu nation, the nation of Kailasa, which executes his vision for an enlightened civilization across the entire planet. With great delight, we invite our viewers to join us in this continued live relay, which will happen every single day of this Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam live relay from Kailasa, Madurai. The next live relay will happen tomorrow morning, 7 to 10 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Tomorrow will be day 2 of this Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam. Continue to stay tuned through any platform available to you in the internet and immerse yourself in this Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam celebrations and receive the direct energy of Bhagavan Somasundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi. The ancient, enlightened Sanatana Hindu civilization existed in 56 nations with 200 Hindu kingdoms, 1,700 Hindu provinces, and 10,000 Hindu traditions centuries ago. Due to centuries of religious persecution, the last Hindu nation to fall was Nepal in 2007. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism today is the head of 21 such ancient indigenous kingdoms of Hinduism, and he's reviving Hinduism to its full glory. To the United States of Kailasa, which stands for human rights and religious freedom for all Hindus worldwide, protecting Hindus from persecution in over 100 countries. The United States of Kailasa provides a base for the revival, preservation, and central administration of Hinduism, similar to the Vatican, which serves as a central administration hub for the Roman Catholic Church. The United States of Kailasa stands for all the great values enshrined in the Constitution of Kailasa, the Vedas, and the Agamas. The state flag of Kailasa is the Rishabha Dwaja. Rishabha meaning the sacred bull of Paramashiva, Nandi, the Nandi Devar, Dwaja meaning the flag. Today, we witnessed a few hours earlier the raising of the Rishabha Dwaja in the Meenakshi Somasundareshwara temple, marking the commencement of this 13-day Chithirai Brahmotsavam. The Rishabha, the sacred bull of Paramashiva, represents dharma, righteousness, as well as the individual soul. And raising of the flag, raising of the Rishabha Dwaja, symbolizes the raising of dharma and raising of the consciousness of the individual soul. Through this 13-day festival, it is Bhagavan Paramashiva who protects all of creation every single moment. But during this 13-day period, through this 13-day period, he conveys his extraordinary love and compassion to the people through a special and intense flow of energy for enlightening all of creation. Therefore, it is not for us to miss this opportunity with the grace and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to avail of the direct energy of Paramashiva happening in Kailasa, Madurai during these 13 days, during the Chithirai Peruvizha Brahmotsavam. Just by tuning in to the live relay from Kailasa, Madurai, we are blessed with a direct initiation from Bhagavan Paramashiva himself. It is an opportunity for us to nourish our souls with the energy flowing intensely during this 13-day period. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Kailasa is the seed bank of Hinduism itself, established by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. It is a non-violent religious sovereign nation governed by a lineage of enlightened gurus as per the vision of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And Kailasa is a complement to every other nation in the world today. In the words of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, we had 56 desas, countries, 200 states, 1,700 samasthanas or provinces, and 10,000 sampradayas or traditions. Now we have lost all of them. I am the collective voice of all the persecuted Hindus. I will revive and build a Hindu nation built on the Veda Agamic principles as a refuge for all the practicing, aspiring, and persecuted Hindus, which will be a safe haven for all of Hindus and the whole of humanity. Kailasa is in alignment with the Montevideo Convention for a sovereign state with a sovereign land, a governmental structure that manages a permanent population and comprises a permanent population of citizens and has the capacity to enter in relations with other states or countries. Kailasa is continuously entering into diplomatic relations with other states and countries to build a world of global peace, to have enlightened living as a lifestyle for all of humanity, to share with the world the practical applications of this great Hindu science of living enlightenment. Kailasa represents the revival of the ancient enlightened Sanatana Hindu civilization based on Hinduism, standing as a bold vision of human potential, peaceful coexistence, organic living, and alignment with nature. Kailasa offers the science of enlightenment as a master key that can solve society's major problems and wishes to share the practical applications of this science as a service to all of humanity. The founding principles of Kailasa are 1. Ahimsa. Ahimsa paramo dharmaha. Non-violence is the ultimate cosmic law. And second, all citizens of Kailasa are Paramashiva. Citizens of Paramashiva who have a right to be treated as Paramashiva by others. Kailasa's supreme aim is to serve the religious and spiritual needs of 2 billion Hindus and the whole of humanity